welcome to CBS Sports Summer Showcase Memory Serves. I'm Lawrence DeLoach, avid stand-up comedian, podcaster, and big-time Knicks fan from Brooklyn.
I am Chris Cheney. I am also a stand-up comedian here in New York City, a product designer by day, and also a big sports fan.
Here on Memory Serves, we're going to take a look at a specific era in sports and fashion, and more specifically on this show, the 1990s New York Knicks. Let's start with my favorite team, the 1993-94 New York Knicks.
Oh, that's my favorite team, too, the Knicks.
Who was your favorite player on the Knicks?
Patrick Ewing.
Oh, Patrick Ewing is he's the captain, one of the greatest Knicks to ever play the game, man.
Yeah, when he really started commanding the court and caused a lot of issues on the court, which is especially like Jordan and the Bulls rivalry, like, oh man, that was the best time for me.
Man, what an era, man. I mean, Patrick, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, just physicality it ruled in the 90s.
Who would you say your favorite player was?
I'm going to say this. Charles Smith in the early half of the 90s was my favorite player because he literally, he went through a lot. He got his shot blocked 4 times in 1993. Just a nice small forward. He just did it all. Once again, I mean, me personally, Chris, I love this era because it's straight up physical. Games would be 71-69 final scores, man.
Yeah.
7 dudes would get ejected, a couple fights.
I mean, no one really was nice to each other on the court.
No, they wanted to rip each other's heads off, and that's how it was, man.
What was the nickname for the Knicks in the 90s based on their defense?
They used to call them kind of like the Thug.
That's right. Used to call them the Thugs.
The Thug NBA New York Knickerbockers. Listen, man, it's a great era. We're going to talk about this. We're going to go to sneaker stores. We're going to have a wonderful interview with NBA Hall of Famer Walt Clyde Frazier.
Legend.
Legends in the building. Arguably the greatest Knick ever, Walt Clyde Frazier, joins us in studio to talk about the 90s Knicks. Welcome back to Memory Serves, and the guest that we have in studio needs no introduction, but he's one of the 50 greatest NBA players of all time.
That's right.
Knicks legend, one of my favorite Knicks, Walt Clyde Frazier. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man.
What's going on, man?
I was watching you guys prior to the show. You said arguably the greatest Knick, unequivocally the greatest.
Yo, I got to tell you, man, that is a fly suit. You came prepared today.
Yeah, you know, I'm a victim of my own grandeur, man. I always, when I step out, everybody's like, Clyde, where's the cow suit? Clyde, where's this? So I try not to disappoint.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into the cow suit later, for sure. But now, we want to get into some of the 90s Knicks teams. Specifically, we'll start off with the 93-94 season.
Before we even do that, I just want to talk to you, Clyde, about your time playing with the Knicks. You won 2 championships, 1970, 1970. You bought the rings.
Every day, man, I wear them with pride, symbolic of a perfect season.
That's right.
You had one of the greatest Game 7s in NBA Finals NBA history, 36-19, 7 rebounds, 4 steals. You sold hot dogs in the stands at halftime. You've done it all. You retired in 1980. You're Hall of Fame in 1987.
Retired number 10, hanging in the garden.
Right, second player after Willis Reed. That was quite an honor. Probably the highlight is the 50 greatest players of all time.
For sure.
You look at all the players that have played in the NBA, thousands of players, and be one of the 50 greatest. So that was magnificent.
I worked at the NBA store, and we would see the lithograph that you guys signed. And it's just, I mean, you guys, it's all of your signatures. I think Maravich was the only one that didn't sign it.
Right.
Just an amazing piece. And do you have one of those at home? You have one?
They gave everybody
Oh, that's awesome.
a copy of it. So
Dope, man.
I'm saving it for my kids. It's going to be valuable. It's probably worth over 100 grand right now, I'm sure, in county.
When I worked there, they would sell it for, I believe it was around $75,000.
Right.
And this was 10 years ago. So I can imagine the value of it now. We brought you on because, obviously you've been with the Knicks organization for years. And we want to kind of throw it back to an era that you're familiar with, the 90s. You were a broadcaster, and you saw some...
I was a precocious neophyte.
You saw some great memories. The Knicks made it to the finals in 93, 94.
was our year, man.
It was, right?
And it was the first
home
year.
court, had the best team.
It was the first year since you brought them to the championship that they've been back, too.
Right.
Did you see any similarities between the team that Ewing led and the one that you led?
Yeah, they were symbolic of a team.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't mention Oakley without Starks, without Ewing, so they personified team.
The team, Pat Riley, I would say he did one of his finest jobs there in terms of the team that he had. He didn't have like the Showtime Lakers with Magic or anything. He had rough and tough guys.
Right.
How similar was those type of teams to the teams that you played on in the 70s?
Well, the 70s, you know, there was no such thing as a flagrant foul. You go in the paint, no blood, no foul. And it was worse in the playoffs. So Riley knew that this team couldn't run and gun.
Of course.
You know, they weren't a glamorous team, but they were physical. We forgot Mason.
Yes.
Mason, Oakley. When you come in the paint, man, you're going to pay Patrick. You know, Starks was a crowd favorite because of his erratic, dramatic, charismatic, acrobatic style of play. So they had it going on, man. I really enjoyed that season. Breen and I were like in our infancy doing the games, coming on radio, and I thought that was the year we should have won.
How did you adjust going into radio? Like, was that a big adjustment for you from playing in the NBA, being a star, 7-time All-Star, to now broadcasting for the team you play for?
Yeah, it was like learning to talk all over again. And I learned a lot from the New York fans because I had been away from the game. I kind of wasn't following it. So when I came back, I was saying fast break, and they were saying transition. You know, I was saying passing, they were saying dishing. And I was like, hey, man, that's the way I should sound. If I'm going to do this, I got to really work at this.
Yeah, so you had a whole new glossary of terms that you needed to learn.
Yeah, I worked diligently on my vocabulary.
Okay.
Because on radio, there are nuances. The color guy doesn't talk until the ball is dead. And that's rare. So you've got to get in and out because the play-by-play guy does most of the talking. So that's how I came up with the rhymes. So if the Knicks were doing something, I go, they're dishing and swishing. That's about all I could get
Dancing
in before
and
the guy
prancing,
come in, right? So it really helped me, though. Plus, radio is a spontaneity. You can't look at notes because everything is instantaneous. It's happening so quickly, you just got to splurt it out and get in and out. So I actually enjoyed it better than TV.
That's awesome. You know, you brought up the rhyming. It's funny because you and I have actually met before. It was actually at your restaurant. I used to work right next to the DHL building that's right there.
Right.
Yeah. We used to go in and play basketball in the court you have during lunch, which was so fun because the walls are so close together. You do all the bounce passes and stuff. They bounce off, and try to get it in.
Right?
Yeah. But no, you remind me because that's the name of your drinks that you have in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaking and baking, stumbling and bumbling. But yeah, I appreciate you guys' support there. You know, Clyde's is going on 6 years now.
Yeah, it's a great restaurant.
Yeah.
Never had a bad meal there.
37 to 10, thanks. Yeah, the food gets a lot of kudos. So.
Oh no, my family's in there plenty of times. They love it, and I horse. People play horse in the court over there. It's just an amazing. All right, it's just an amazing experience. Well, you also were on hand for another Knicks team that made it to the finals, the 98-99 New York Knickerbockers.
That was more serendipity.
Yes.
You know, a shortened season. They kind of got hot near the end.
Yeah.
But they had no shot against the Spurs.
I was gonna say they were 27 and 23. They had to win just to make the playoffs.
Right.
But they played, the way they played, they came together. Spreewell and Houston and Camby, and unfortunately Patrick got hurt. But do you think if Pat wasn't hurt, do you think they would have?
That would have enhanced their chances, but still the Spurs were dominant. Actually, that was their first title, too.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that was the first time. And, losing Patrick was devastating. That took the life out of the team.
Of course. What was your thoughts when the Knicks traded two of their fan favorites that year? Charles Oakley was dealt for Marcus Camby, and you had John Starks, who was also moved for Latrell Sprewell. How'd you feel like seeing those two guys leave the organization?
Yeah, did you see any momentum lose in the city's emotional connection with the team?
Well, I empathize with them because I got traded, so I know what they were feeling. To leave New York is devastating,
yeah, for
man.
Sure.
So, and Starks and Oakley, I mean, they were such the heart of the team, actually. Those two guys were the catalyst. So But Spreewell, you know, he came in and did his thing, so it can be. So that kind of mitigated the loss of the two players.
Of course. Now, what was the feeling when, you know, you see Latrell Sprewell, he gets into it with his coach, PJ Carlesimo, and then he's out of the league for a little while, and then he comes to New York. Were you willing to embrace him, or did you do any mentoring with him?
No, I never really talked to him, but I always admired his reckless abandon on the court, hell-bent style of play. You know, he's just unrelenting on the defense. So he could still be playing today, man. That guy, Dennis Rodman, those type of guys. You know, if they didn't get caught up in things off the court. So I had a lot of respect for Spree.
You talk about guys like Spreewell. They were kind of, you know, he was kind of a new character in the fold per se. But the Knicks had so many rivals in the 90s: Chicago, Indiana, Miami.
Heat, yeah.
What was your favorite rivalry in the 90s?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah. The Bulls.
Yes.
Was there anything specific about the Bulls' relationship with the Knicks that made you like that rivalry the most?
Jordan.
Jordan?
Jordan and the Lover Bulls. I mean, to go there, man, it was a happening to go to Chicago Stadium. You know, there were no acoustics back in those days.
Okay.
So when they went on a run and Jordan did something, I couldn't even hear Breen, man, talking to me. It was like, and Breen and I used to look at each other, couldn't believe our luck, man, that we actually getting paid to do this. To sit here and watch these
We're kind
games.
of in the same boat, to be honest.
Well, you were there for so many Chicago games, the Jordan double nickel game. What was that? What was the experience? He comes back from a retirement and playing baseball, and then 55 points.
It's just the grandeur, the magnificence of Michael, man. Once he got into the Garden, the biggest stage there is, the magnificence. He elevated his game, you know, and put on quite a show that we'll never forget.
Of course. Now let me ask you a question. Would you like to play in the 90s era? Do you feel like you would flourish?
It was similar to the 70s.
Okay.
You know, they had the physicality. The teams would play a little physical. Three ball wasn't that evident at the time. So there were a lot of similarities to the 70s. The big guy was prominent. Still had to have the big man in the paint.
You yourself, you played with Willis Reed, and then you see like a guy like Patrick Ewing. And what were their similarities in terms of the way they played the game?
They were hell-bent to win. You know, they were warriors. Personified the warriors. Patrick, that mentality. Willis Reed, we still call him the captain affectionately. He was the guy that wouldn't let us quit. And I mean, you know, Game 7, a lot of guys would not have attempted to play in that game.
Of course.
Yeah, and he came out and inspired us.
First two buckets, man.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's holding out on us, man. There's nothing wrong with him. But you know, I didn't know prior to that, he had been over to the Garden all day.
Got you.
I think he was over there like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning getting treatment on his leg. And I'll never forget, we were all concerned, would he play? And Holtzman go, get out of the training room. You know, whether he plays or not, we have to play.
Gotcha.
Right.
So when we left the locker room, we had no idea he would come out. And people thought it was premeditated that we knew he was coming. We were just as flabbergasted as everybody when he came on the court.
I'm sure Jerry West and Will they were in shock. They had to be to see this come out.
Hey, man, 3 of the greatest players ever, West, Chamberlain, Baylor, they stopped doing what they were doing.
Super fast.
They were like mesmerized watching Willis, and that gave me so much confidence. At that point, I said, man, we got these guys. You know?
Hell yeah.
And then Willis made the first basket. The crowd never shut up. You know, the rest is history.
That's awesome, man. Do you mind hanging out for a while so we can talk style after the next segment?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, cool. When we come back, we head out of the studio to Mr. Throwbacks. Check out some of the hottest jerseys from the 90s. Memory Serves is back in a minute.
Welcome back to Memory Serves, where we're throwing it back to the 90s, a golden age of New York Knicks basketball that was filled with many beautiful memories as well as some heartbreak. In addition to that, there was a lot of unforgettable fashion choices, as well as some regretful ones.
So we're here in the East Village at Mr. Throwback. We're inside these walls. It's more than just a memory. Inside here, they got an amazing sports vintage memorabilia collection. Why don't we go inside and check it out?
Let's take a look. It's like sports heaven in here, man.
It's crazy authentic in here.
Jerseys to hats to everything you can think of. And you know what? we're gonna take a look at our favorite Knicks jerseys right now. One of my favorites is Latrell Sprewell.
Why?
Here's why. I mean, basically, he was almost out of the league. I mean, they suspended him for choking out his coach.
It was crazy.
It was insane. And then there was lockout, and he was traded to the Knicks.
That's right.
And then they go to the finals in his first season. Could you imagine? Like, do you understand how much history is in this particular jersey right here?
There's a lot, man.
A lot of history. I mean, once again, they go from Game 5 winning against Miami as an 8 seed.
Right.
Then they were the first 8 seed to go to the NBA Finals. As a kid, I cried. I'm serious. I cried when they went to the finals, man. I was so excited. Love them. Just love this guy, man.
Patrick Ewing, man. I'm already wearing him, but he's like my favorite Knick of all time, man.
Probably the greatest Knick ever, man.
It was 93. Okay. Him and Jordan almost got that thing on the court.
Oh, they always got into it
Yo,
on the court.
I loved the drama.
It was like physical basketball. Like they would do that.
Yeah, just elbows,
not a foul.
throwing bows all the time, man.
That's 90s basketball.
Now it's like
I'm hand checking you right now.
That's a foul right
What can
now.
you do? No, it's not. It's a foul now.
Now, yeah.
But back in the days,
Nah.
no foul.
No.
Best Knick ever, I'm gonna say. Greatest Knick ever.
Ewing. What else? You want to check something else here?
Sure. Oh man, this guy right here, the UTEP two-step, Tim Hardaway. One of the biggest Knick rivals in the mid-90s, man. Him, Alonzo Mourning, Miami. Pat Riley goes to Miami, and then the Knicks hate them. So many rivalry games. I mean, one of my favorites, and I don't know if you remember this, but Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson, they get into a big fight, right? Jeff Van Gundy happens to come out of nowhere and grab Alonzo Mourning's leg, and he's just riding him. He's just riding him. That's how intense this rivalry was. They played in the playoffs in 97, 98. It was brutal. More hand checking.
You got a hand check. Love it.
There's this guy right here. One of the key members of the Seattle Supersonics in the mid-90s.
That's right.
Just, smooth guy, smooth player on the basketball court. Him, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, just led the Seattle Supersonics to the NBA Finals in 1996 after a couple years that they were disappointing. I just want to talk about how beautiful these designs are.
Yeah, no, these were great. You know what it was, man? For me, when I was growing up, I loved Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
So any opportunity I had to wear something that said Sonics on it, especially like something like this where it was like bold, it was eye-catching, like just very simple and clean also. Like I was just trying to rock Sonics jerseys all day.
Sonics jerseys all day.
Yeah.
Little known fact about me, I had a Deadlift Shrimp jersey as a kid. Deadlift Shrimp. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
That was cool. I liked it. I was a cool kid.
Probably my favorite NBA player of all time is Allen Iverson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You love AI, huh?
AI is my guy.
One of the best small players ever, man, to play the game.
Arguably to me, I know you and I have had our arguments about it, but top 5 just because of his cultural impact.
What he's done for the game, get it?
I
get it.
He made the sleeve, something that was supposed to be functional only for basketball, into a fashion item. You know what I used to do, man?
What'd you do?
I used to take long socks.
Okay.
I used to cut off the toe.
Okay.
And I used to wear them like the sleeve.
Really?
Yeah. He's the reason why I'm wearing a XX, like, cut like this. It's just because he always wore the baggy stuff.
Where's your braids?
I mean,
Where's your braids?
I mean, come on.
You need braids. Like if you're gonna wear sleeves and baggy, where's your braids?
We talked about this. I just can't grow them.
You need braids.
I know, and I can't get someone to do it. My mom's a hairdresser, but she's never done that before.
You need braids.
Okay.
Okay.
You got somebody for me?
No, not for you. I want to see you. Get out of my way. I'm gonna take a glance, and I want to get a couple more jerseys here, man. This is the jersey, man. This is one of them, man. One of the biggest thorns in the Knicks side, man, in the 90s. Reggie Miller. Do you understand how many rivalry games that the Knicks and the Pacers had in the mid-90s?
There's so many.
So many. I mean, what do we have? The choking game where he... Yep, there you go. You had it. I only have one hand.
Yeah, no, I got
Okay,
you.
cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I got your back.
I mean, listen, 8 points, 9 seconds. This is 95 playoffs. They had a memorable, epic 7-game series with the Knicks in 94. I mean, come on, man. It's in the Garden, in front of Spike Lee. Just beautiful, man. One of the best 2 guards in the NBA ever. And just a fan favorite.
Very hard to argue that.
Very hard to argue. But you know what? If we're going to talk about Reggie Miller being a great shooting guard that the Knicks didn't like, we obviously have to talk about the premier shooting guard in the NBA.
That's right.
You want to hold?
Yeah, I'll hold it for
okay,
you.
we'll both hold it. How about this?
You want to? Maybe I'll just.
You do it. You do it.
Might be better if I just hold it.
Okay. Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Biggest thorn Knicks had, man. Obviously, the Knicks didn't like him. They played in the playoffs multiple years. Jordan usually came out on top most of the time. Well, pretty much all the time.
Almost every time.
But at the same time, there's so many memories in this jersey. I mean, he, obviously this isn't the 45, but he had double nickel game in the 45 jersey. They played in multiple playoff series, and he was just hated by New York.
You still wear shoes, though.
Yeah, I still wear shoes now. We all wear shoes. I mean.
More Memory Serves on the way. We still have Walt Clyde Frazier in the studio talking everything style from suits to sneakers. Welcome back to Memory Serves. I am Chris Cheney. I am here with DeLoach, and we have a very special guest, the legend himself, Walt Clyde Frazier, and now we're going to be talking some style. So you brought up the cow suit as sort of like the prominent suit that everybody knows you for.
Right.
Now, we all know that suit, though. Is there a suit that no one really talks about that's your favorite?
I like all of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Depending on my mood, I never keep like when I go home tonight, I'll take this combination. I won't keep it together. So every time I dress, I don't know what it's going to look like.
Right, you do a little mix and matching.
My mood changes, yeah.
And you sort of go to these fabric stores and pick out the fabrics yourself. You don't have a stylist.
Right.
And you sort of have these all custom made for your personal collection.
Yeah, my guy Mohan's custom tailor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you see the ad, so I take them to him. So maybe, peak lapel, notch lapel, open front, buttons on the cuff, whatever it is. They also do shirts.
Okay.
And then I have a tie maker guy that makes your ties as well.
Oh, because that tie is amazing. Did you ever think about having your own line of suits, like a Clyde Frazier
Back
branded?
in the day, I did. I used to endorse, but now no one. Only Mohan's just has me kind of as a model, So I have a deal with him that I get suits, and he uses the commercial.
Dope.
Well, usually for guys are not going to spend that much money on a suit. They're not going to spend a lot of time looking for suits like me, man. I'm like a woman when I shop. Shop till I drop, man. That's what I do.
When you started dressing, obviously, like, guys took a lot of pride in what they wore. And you see, like, guys now, and I feel like a lot of them emulate rappers or musicians.
Right.
Do you have, if you played in this era, in 2018, would you still dress this way, or would you kind of gravitate towards what, like, the rappers are doing?
I probably do both. See, that's a good analogy, because in the 70s, our idols were the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Miracles. When they performed, they wore a suit and tie.
Gotcha.
So we used to try to outdress the other guys, man, on the team. So Barnett was a good dresser. When I came in as a rookie, I used to go where he made his suits, his shirts with the monogram on the cuff, man. So that's how I copied my style. So what set me apart was the hat.
Gotcha.
So what happened as a rookie, I wasn't playing good. So to pacify myself, I always went shopping, man. So I dress up, go back in the room, look in the mirror. I ain't playing good, but I still look good. So when I bought the hat, my teammates even laughed at me, because like today, the narrow brim was in style, and that was the wide brim. So I was like, man, I'm going to wear this hat. So 2 weeks later, the movie Bonnie and Clyde comes out.
Okay.
And I walk in the locker room, everybody go, hey, look at Clyde. So that's been my moniker for 40 years, Clyde.
Wow, that's crazy.
The guys, you guys were, when you played in the 70s, the Jets were good and the Mets were good. Joe Namath has a fur coat, and I always wanted to know, did you guys kind of rib each other? Like, who has the better furs or who dressed better?
Yeah, Joe was the guy who started it, man. He was the guy with the first four. Willis Reed and I, this guy named Ben Kahn, was a furrier named Ben Kahn. So like in 1970, he gave Willis and I a coat just for an ad, a shot in the paper. So that's how my first coat was a sealskin coat. And then from there, I moved to the minks and different things, but that was my first foray into the fur business.
Now, question, when you see, like, the NBA implemented a dress code for players, in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had guys sitting on the bench wearing baggy T-shirts. And
Right.
what were your thoughts as a legend, a guy who's very stylish? What did you think about that era?
It was ghastly, man.
Ghastly, huh?
Ghastly. Because all these guys are millionaires. So you should look like it for 3 hours.
Of course.
You know, after that, you could dress whatever way you want, but during the game, you should come and represent, man. You know, they stay in the Ritz-Carlton, the Four Seasons, so dress like that, go to the Holiday Inn, man, you know, some other place. So you got to live the style. That's what we did. So, you know, I was living it up, man, with the Rolls Royce and all this thing. You only come this way once, so.
What do you think about the jersey style back in the 90s? Because it's very different. They've kind of switched up a lot. It came more cartoonish in the 90s, you know what I mean? You think of like the Raptors, the Sonics, that type of thing. Was there any anything that you kind of thought about that style of the brand identity?
The brand identity, the Knicks should be set in the style, man. We should have so many different uniforms, man. We are New York, man, come on. We should have so many different styles that we go out on the court. And the Knicks are pretty conservative in their style with their uniforms. I think the Magic were pretty creative. They had a lot of different ones.
They had the pinstripes. Them and the Bulls kind of had that. The only two that had that solid stripe down. And the Star. They had a really good brand identity back in the day.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like the Raptors with the dinosaur on the jerseys, the Pistons. They had the piston on the logo. I mean, on the jersey. Just different teams. And then, like you said, when you see New York, it's New York.
Right.
It's Knicks, you know.
They might change the numbers a little bit or something. But
And they had the Spanish version, Nueva York, for a while.
Yeah. Both teams did that, but we are mosaic, man. All the red, yellow, black, and white in New York, we should have those colors mixed into our uniforms, you know, showing the pizzazz of New York.
Is there a current player whose fashion sense you're like, you know what, I like his style?
Yeah, I like Wade when he was doing it with the Heat.
Okay.
You know,
Wade got you.
Yeah, Wade was different. He come with some different styles, you know. Melo was okay. Amari was good. But the thing about NBA players, man, they're like models. They're tall and slim.
Of course.
So no matter what they put on, they're going to look good, man. They're like runway models, these guys. So.
Did you happen to see LeBron when he came in for the first game of the playoffs wearing the shoot shorts?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay, basically he came in, he was wearing, kind of like a suit, all niced up, but then he had the pants on just cut off at the shorts.
Oh, right, I saw some of them, with the short pants.
Short pants, yeah.
You are a Puma lifetime ambassador as of the early summer. You've been wearing Pumas, you know, for what now, almost 50 years.
Yeah.
I want to know how did that start?
We had won the championship in the 70s, so Puma approached me about doing a shoe.
Okay.
But the shoe they had was called a basket. It was leather, it was heavy, clunky. I go, man, I wouldn't wear that even if you paid me. So they go, no, we want you to help us devise a shoe, you know. So I kind of made it lighter, more padding on it. Obviously, mine was better than the one they kind of sold, but and then they came out with suede. That was a revolutionary. The shoes had never been in suede. So they came out with suede, man. So just in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, we couldn't keep the shoes in the store, man. They were selling like hotcakes. So my first contract was $5,000 and all the shoes that I wanted. So
It's a little different now, huh?
yeah, it's a lot different now.
I don't know if you keep up with some of the sneaker news that goes on, but so Jay-Z is now the president of the Puma basketball.
Right.
And he also has his sports agency through Rock Nation.
Right.
So you're going to see a lot of Pumas that you never saw before on the court. How do you feel about Puma coming back onto the court so strongly?
Obviously, I think it's fantastic, man. That's probably why they gave me a lifetime contract. They paid homage to me for being the guy who brought the shoe there. Because
Definitely.
before that, I think they had Carter. Once they tried to do a deal with Carter, but other than that, it's always been the Clyde. The Clyde has been the main focus of Puma. So this year was their first foray back into a basketball shoe. And then Jay-Z obviously catapulted them with the first 2 picks in the draft.
Definitely.
Guys are wearing the Puma brand, so things are really looking up for Puma.
Wonderful, Walt Clyde. I want to thank you so much for coming into the studio to talk hoops, fashion. You yourself, you're a trailblazer. Like I said, I want to go out and get a jacket like this right now.
Yeah, me too, man. We got to go shopping after we're done
You
with
need a
this.
stylist, man. Look me up, bro. I'll take care of you, bro.
I'm going to check you out. And once again, Walt Clyde Frazier, I want to thank you for coming into the studio.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
thanks,
Good
man.
luck.
Really
Good luck
appreciate
with
you
what you
coming in.
guys are doing, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And when Memory Serves comes back, we head out to Stadium Goods to look out the hottest sneakers from the 90s. More fun on the way. Stay with us. Memory Serves. We're here in New York City at the world-famous Stadium Goods, home of every sneaker possible that you want. This is basically sneaker heaven. Any sneaker you want, you're gonna find. We have Fresco Wilson, one of the managers here.
How you doing, guys? Welcome to Stadium. Welcome to Stadium.
How are you, man? How you
Good,
doing?
Good, pretty good.
That's awesome.
I want to know what got you into sneakers. What's your background? What do you love about sneakers?
Well, playing ball first got me into sneakers. Basketball in New York City, so you wanted to be fresh on the court, but you wanted to look good off the court.
That's right.
So my mom didn't have much money, so I needed to find one sneaker that I could do both with. So essentially that grew into more and more sneakers. You play more basketball, you get more sneakers, and boom, here I am.
Well, that's what you said it's something not only on the court, but off the court.
For sure.
It's a lifestyle. And speaking of lifestyle sneakers and on and off the court, we got some of the best sneakers. I want your opinion. We'll start off with this. This is one of the most classic, iconic sneakers ever. The Air Jordan Black and Cement 3s.
Arguably one of the top sneakers that's ever been made.
Easily, yeah, one of everybody's favorite Jordan. I think, is this the shoe that saved, that brought Jordan back to the company, that kept him? Yeah, I think this is the one.
That's actually,
This is it right here, guys. You got to get this one. Certain sneakers, they have a specific colorway, but they also have what's called iconic nickname. These are the playoff 11s.
Excuse you. If we are in the 2018 realm of the world, we're talking bread 11.
Oh,
that's right.
Appreciate that.
We got to keep you up to speed. You say playoff outside, they'd be like,
Bread 11s, guys. Once again, these are sneakers that were originally brought out in the 90s. How different was it for a sneaker to feature patent leather?
It was unheard of at the time. Patent leather with the carbon fiber plate at the bottom. So like Tinker Hatfield, same man behind all of the Jordans that we just spoke about.
That's right.
He, another just premium build out. And the original color was based off a tuxedo.
Yes, the tuxedo. Yes. What are your thoughts on patent leather on a sneaker?
It's pristine. It gives it like a high value look to me when I think of patent leather on a sneaker.
These are known as the last shots. This was the iconic shot in Utah, 1998 against the Jazz, Game 6. Jordan was never pushed to a 7-game in the NBA Finals.
It's funny you say he was never pushed.
Never pushed.
But he pushed off.
Pushed off.
Do you think he actually pushed off?
Nah, not really. In today's NBA, it's a flagrant foul.
It's a flagrant. In the 90s,
In the 90s, it definitely was.
That's just business as usual.
Absolutely.
Growing up, I called those buzzer beaters.
Okay.
And I used to get clowned on because I didn't know the proper nickname. And they'd be like, what you calling them buzzer beaters for? I'm like, because that's what he did.
Not only was Jordan one of the biggest things in the 90s, but we had a lot of players getting their own signature models. Patrick Ewing, one of them, Shaquille O'Neal, David Robinson, a lot of big men had sneakers. Did you, in fact, wear any sneakers that?
Definitely had I definitely had David Robinson's for sure. But I was more into the guard play.
The guard play.
So like I wanted to wear the shoes that the guards wore. So like Penny, I wanted to wear the Penny shoes. I wanted to wear, like that's what I connected with.
We happen to have them right here, Penny Hardaway's, the original Penny Hardaway's from 1997. 1997.
And when these first came out, these were so different looking than any other shoe that it came out.
Yes.
And the price tag was different.
And I remember seeing these on Mike Bibby in the
97
Final Four. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Just before he got that crossover from Sham God. Shout out to Sham God. But yes, he was wearing these. But they won the championship that year.
The Iverson.
Iversons, yes.
This is Chris' special. This is Chris' favorite player.
This is my favorite shoe. These shoes specifically mean a lot to me just because I grew up playing in these. Not to say I played well, but I played in these. So this holds a special place in my heart. I, as an artist, grew up dabbling in graffiti. Once I got in trouble one time, I was like, I'm good with this. I don't want to have to deal with this anymore.
You didn't keep a book?
I kept the book.
Okay.
And then after I got in trouble, I just kept it in the book. You know what I mean? I was done outside with any of that stuff. But no, stuff like this really hits home with me specific because it's like, I'm into graffiti. This is the shoe I played in. I love Allen Iverson as a player. As we spoke about on another segment, he's like one of my favorite of all time.
Yes.
So it's like when you get those three entities into one shoe, it's like it holds a special place in my heart. And I'm sure the stories that you guys share,
many.
This whole store is stories to everybody.
We have to honestly say and talk about the original Jordan that got it started. There's multiple colorways. This is probably my favorite colorway, the Chicago version.
I think it's a lot of people's.
Yeah, this is one of Stadium's favorites. You got Old Chicago.
And then we have
New Chicago.
Yes.
New Chicago.
It's just like a abstract version
Yes.
of the original series. You got the new artistic version, the different, the new age,
Yeah.
and the OG. But the new age is gonna cost you.
Yeah, that's true.
I've seen people wear them to their wedding.
Oh yeah, I've seen people wear them to the funeral. I mean,
It's definitely a dope take, and you make them look pretty good.
thank you. I try.
It's just crazy to think about how when Tinker Hatfield presented these to Michael Jordan, he called them clown shoes.
Yes.
He called them shoes for a clown, these shoes. People freaking out over these shoes over the past 20, 25 years, you know what I mean? Like, these are like one of the best shoes that have ever been created in a lot of people's minds. And then for Michael Jordan to originally think they're for clowns.
And people swear by Jordan ones.
I know.
These are now high fashion.
That's right.
That base, that root, this is the root that brings the whole outfit together. So these are now officially high fashion shoes.
That's a good way to put it. Thank you for hanging out, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys coming through.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Thank you. The NBA is looking to a new trend to get fans engaged. We take a look at the New York Knicks esports team when memory serves returns. Welcome back to Memory Serves. We flashed back to the Knicks of the 90s, and now we're going to flash forward to the Knicks of the future. And instead of hoisting basketballs, they're handling joysticks.
We're talking about the Knicks gaming team, which is created part of the inaugural season of the NBA 2K League, the first esports league run by a professional sports organization.
The NBA partnered with the makers of the top-selling sports game in the U.S., NBA 2K, and the results have been pretty cool.
We spoke to some of the Knicks gaming team to get their thoughts on the experience.
Knicks came out hot.
That's basketball 101. What a world we live in. You can watch an NBA 2K League.
Being around something like a video game league, it's something that no one would have thought would have happened 5, 10 years ago. People just used to play in the basements and play with their friends, and now this is a profession.
For me, it was getting accustomed to, wow, this actually happens. There was 2 moments for me where I understood a little bit more of what was happening. The first moment was really our first game, and I sat there in the studio, and I found myself cheering like I was at a Knicks game, and cheering the players on, and yelling at the officials, like virtual officials, so I could see how people really get into it. In the second moment, I was with my 8-year-old nephew watching people play Fortnite, and this is how kids are spending their time right now. And given those 2 things, there's a real opportunity for us.
With the 9th overall pick in the 2018 NBA 2K League draft, Knicks Gaming selects Goofy 757 from Texas.
It actually felt like a real NBA draft. Nobody knew what their name was going to be called. The feelings like I actually made it. My dreams are really coming true. I can actually become a professional gamer and do what I love to do.
And Eagers throws it down, and the Knicks.
The environment is like loud. It's crazy. Like you don't never know what you're gonna see. We could trash talk.
I'm usually trash talking. That's what I do. But I'm also trying to get my team energy to make them play better at the same time.
It really does take actual basketball IQ, which is crazy to think of, like we're playing a video game, but you'll see a lot of players in this league are basketball players.
We're calling out backdoor cuts, calling plays, pick and roll, just like normal NBA play.
As long as you come off that screen aggressive, they're giving you a million looks, whether it's the layup or the jump.
It's a mix and match of, esports and traditional sports. It's a really cool combination to be a part of.
84 points!
Wake up every morning happy to go to work. Majority of people can't say that. It's dope. Got fans now. I love it. Like, I ain't never think this would happen, but this league changed my life.
New York Knicks!
Knicks
The Knicks were one of the 17 teams competing in their first season, which is coming down to the home stretch. You can catch the League Championship Series on August 25th on Twitch TV. That's where all the NBA 2K League games have been streaming.
And by the way, if you think this is all fun and games, the season featured $1 million in prize money, with $300,000 going to the league champion.
Chris, what a great piece, man. I can remember when I was a kid and my mom would yell at me and say, "Stop playing video games. It's not going to pay your bills."
Yo, my mom said the same stuff to me, man. And guess what, Mom? It's paying some people's bills now, huh?
You know, it's a great esports, e-gaming. It's great for the country. It's great for Knicks fans, man. What do you think it does for Knicks fans, man?
I mean, it gives them an opportunity to see Knicks actually win something.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I mean, these gamer tags are amazing.
Yeah, dude, just imagine though, like, now there's going to be like e-gaming scouts. So like on top of the high school, the college, and I mean all these prospects, there's going to be a dude who's looking at esports leaderboards going like, we need a guy from here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just imagine being the scout coming in and he's going to be like, dude, Legend 69-420, he's our guy. I think we need to get him round 2.
Chris, let me ask you a question. What would your gamer tag be, man?
I mean, I usually stick with not that Cheney as like everything. I've had that since a kid. But you know what? Growing up, my last name being Cheney, right? Everyone called me Chains, but Chain Link, like a bunch of different play off the word chains. But one day, my friend's older brother called me Memphis Chains.
Okay.
I'm not from Memphis, but that stuck, and that's been my nickname forever. So I'd probably go with that.
Ah, man, now you're giving me a lot of freedom here, man. What would my tag? It'd probably be something cool like bricklayer 325 or like Chubby Dunker. That's awesome. Chubby Dunker.
Chubby Dunker?
Chubby Dunker 325.
I think you're going to need to go back to the drawing board on that one. But anyway, guys, we wrap things up next on Memory Serves. Time now for a little Who Wore It Better. Let's start with LeBron James in his infamous short suit to Clyde's famous leopard. Oh, man, for me, this is easily a Clyde win. This is not even a question.
I'm going to say it's a Clyde win. I don't think it's as decisive as you think. Both players are looking amazing. I actually like LeBron's look here. He's wearing shorts, a suit. He's got some awesome shades on. And I feel like, in order to pull off that look, you have to have nice legs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just an atrocious look, if you ask me. Looks like he took his pants and cut them with scissors.
No, I would wear that 10 times out of 10 times. Actually, Chubby Dunker has beautiful legs. I wear that suit all the time, man.
Well, I mean, maybe not that Cheney needs to go to the gym to get some legs to present, but let's keep going.
All right, next. 2 overall #1 draft picks. 1985 Patrick Ewing and 2018 DeAndre Ayton in their best suits. Chris, what do you think? Who do you think won here?
2 clean looks, man. I'm not mad at either of them, except for the way that DeAndre's wearing his hat. But other than that, it's really tough. I think DeAndre just slides with the win on this one just because I like the color of the suit. You got the green pop right there and the pink undertone, man. Yeah, I think it's DeAndre that takes this one for me.
I'm going to agree with you on this one. DeAndre's look is awesome here. Pat's look is amazing, too. It fits for 1985. But I just like Ayton's modern look right now.
Yeah, let's keep going. I agree with you. 2 more draft night suits for you. Joakim Noah in his 2007 Seersucker, and then Kevin Knox in his Fortnite line jacket.
All right.
Fortnite is so popular, dude. It's crazy. And look, he even got his game. What does that say? Your boy?
Your boy. That's his gamer tag. I'm going to go with Kevin Knox as well, man.
Yeah, Kevin Knox too, man. I'm going to go with him. I love the little bow tie he had there. Both had bow ties, but Kevin Knox had the added flair with the Fortnite lines. But you know what? That's it, guys. This is Memory Serves. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. I'm Chris Cheney.
I'm Lawrence DeLoach.
Hopefully see you soon.
Thanks.